Chapter 4, Presentation, Analysis, and Interpretation of Data. So table number 1 shows the frequency and percentage distribution of the respondents in terms of age. It was shown that 18 to 21 years old get rank 1 with a percentage of 85%, followed by 22 to 25 years old rank 2 with a percentage of 12.5%, and 30 years old and above get rank 3 with a percentage of 2.5%. So table number 2 shows the frequency and percentage distribution of respondents in terms of their age. It was shown that female has 95% and male has 5% of the respondents. Table number 3 shows the frequency and percentage distribution of respondents in terms of their course. It was shown that BS in Internal Auditing has 60% in rank 1 and BS Entrepreneurship has rank 2 with 40%. So table number 4 shows the frequency and percentage distribution of the respondents in terms of their year level. It was shown that first year has 17.5% in rank 1, in rank 2 rather, and second year has 77.5% in rank 1. Factors that foster the unethical conduct among BSI and BEN students in terms of we created 3 indicators. In each indicators, we created 3 statements each. So table number 5, parental relationship. So table number 5 reveals the statement the students being neglected by the parents due to workload gets the weighted mean of 3.71 in rank 1, interpreted as agree, while a student's experience abuse from his or her parents gets weighted mean of 3.68, interpreted as agree, and lastly, the last is a statement students receive unfair treatment from his or her parents get the lowest rank 3 and weighted mean of 3.46 and interpreted as agree. So table number 6 is school environment. Table number 6 indicates the statement the professor interacts with the student inconsistent, inefficient, gets the highest rank of weighted mean 3.66 and interpreted as agree. On the other hand, the students experience bullying from his or her classmates, colleagues, or professor gets rank 2 with the weighted mean of 3.63 and interpreted as agree. Finally, the students influenced by his or her or co-students and classmates to engage in unethical behavior, the lowest rank of weighted mean of 3.51 and gets the interpretation agree. Table number 7, academic pressure. Table number 7 appears with the highest weighted mean of 3.63 and interprets the statement of students aiming to high grades to please their parents as agree, while the professor and teachers don't take working students into consideration gets the rank 2 with weighted mean of 3.51 and also interpret as agree. Lastly, this gets the rank 3 and lowest weighted mean of 3.49 and the result agree with the statement teachers and professor allocate limited time for activities. So now let's go to the recommendation and suggestions for preventing development of unethical conduct among the student in terms of also we created each indicator's 3 statements. So table number 8, parental relationship. Table number 8 demonstrates the statement the parents must have a conversation with their child about how the child is coping with their academic responsibilities get the rank 1 with a weighted mean of 4.46 interprets as strongly agree. Moreover, the statement the parents need to educate themselves how to treat their child appropriately gets rank 2 with a weighted mean of 4.29 and interprets also strongly agree. Lastly, the statement collaboration between school organization and barangays to hold the seminar to parental relationships with the parents gets rank 3 with weighted mean of 4.05 and interpreted as agree. So table number 9, school environment. Table number 9 tells the statements the student must improve and strengthen to execute of the student's code of ethics gets the highest weighted mean of 4.34 and interpreted as strongly agree. The second of the highest weighted mean of 4.32 is the statement the students must carefully select his or her circle of friends and interpreted as strongly agree. The lowest weighted mean of 4.05 is the statement conducting monthly online o on-site kamustahan with the students to make them feel that they are heard and interpreted as agree. So table number 10, the academic pressure. Table number 10 illustrates the statements the organization must conduct further briefing of the unethical ethical concept and moral values, including honesty and truthfulness for the students and practitioners, get the highest weighted mean of 4.34 and interpreted as strongly agree. The statement a student must always consider ethical work principle as guideline in achieving good high or school grades gets the second to the highest weighted mean of 4.15 and interpreted as agree. Furthermore, the students meeting with the professor and teachers with the allocation of time per activities get the lowest rank of 4 and interpreted as agree.
So now let's proceed to the last chapter of our research paper. This chapter presents the summary of findings, conclusion, and recommendation. After the data have been gathered, the suggested recommendations for enhanced development program are made based on the result of the study. Summary of finding. The statistics show that a student being neglected by the parents due to workload indicator in terms of parental relationship has the highest weighted mean and is interpreted as agreed by the respondent as one of the factors that foster the development of an ethical conduct of the student. Regarding the school environment, most respondents agreed with its indicator that the professor interaction with the student are inconsistent and inefficient. Lastly, in terms of academic pressure, the indicator that a student aiming a high grade to please their parents has the highest weighted mean and is interpreted as agreed by most respondents. The statistic revealed in subproblem number 3 in terms of a parental relationship. Most of the respondents strongly agreed with the indicator that parents must have a conversation with their child about how the child is coping with their academic responsibility. As a recommendation and suggestion for preventing the factors that foster the development of an ethical conduct among students, in terms of the school environment, the indicator the school must improve and strengthen the execution of the student, like code of ethics, has been strongly agreed by most of the respondents. So lastly, regarding academic pressure, the respondents strongly agreed with this indicator, agreed with the organization must conduct further briefing on ethical concepts and moral values, including honesty and truthfulness for students and practitioners. Next is conclusion. Based on the result of the study, the researcher came up with the following conclusion. The researchers concluded that there are factors from the parental relationships that develop the unethical behavior of the students. Based on the result of our study, the statement a student being neglected by the parents due to workload, and the student experience abuse from his or her partner shows that these are the top 2 sources or causes of student unethical conduct. Furthermore, the school environment also has an impact on a student's unethical behavior. Also, based on the result of our study, the statement the professor interaction with the students are inconsistent and inefficient, and a student influenced by his or her co-student and classmate to engage in unethical behavior are the top 2 factors why a student develops unethical behavior. So lastly, the researcher also came to the conclusion that there are also factors from academic pressure that motivates the student to commit unethical acts. And this factor is the statement, a student aiming a high or good grades to please their parents. And last is the recommendation. So to sum up, hindi lang student ang magbe-benefit ng study research paper namin na to, but also this will serve as the parents, professors, school, administrator, and future researchers. So, based on the conclusion of this study, the following are hereby recommended. Students are encouraged by the researcher to always consider ethical work principle as guidelines or achieving good or high school grades. It is desirable to achieve success in a moral manner. So, students must devote a great amount of time and effort to their academic obligations. In addition, the researcher commends choosing your friend or group friends carefully. So, choose a group are a circle of friends and acquaintances that ethically motivates you to achieve academic success. So the next one is parents. The parental involvement with the academic happenings of the student are highly recommended by the researchers. So parents are one of the greatest foundation for the student moral behavior. In terms of academic performance, proper parental guidance is essential for students. So furthermore, it is essential for parents and students to communicate healthily and effectively. So parents must also motivate their children in a positive manner. So in addition, the researchers suggest that parents have a conversation with their child about the child manages his or her academic responsibilities as a student. So the next one is professor or educators. So the professor or educators recommended being considerate to the student, especially working student. So to reduce academic pressure, allocate and educate time to working on school requirements. So always check with the student to see if the school's ethical values are being implemented and followed in order to avoid any unethical behavior that may affect or have a negative impact on the student due to various factors. So school administrators, so the school's rule and regulation and ethical conduct should always be monitored. It is highly encouraged to do a weekly check to see if the students are really following and practicing the right conduct that the school is promoting. So, the last is the future researchers. So, give more time about the study, find more studies or literature that will strengthen the present study. So, have more responsible to respondents share their opinion about the factor that may lead to unethical conduct. So, future researcher must consider the SMART method in writing a research paper.
Acknowledgement. The researcher would like to acknowledge the following above all to our Heavenly God Almighty, the greatest of all sources of inspiration and learning, for the wisdom and guidance given to the researchers to make this action research possible. Mr. Olino D. Rabago Jr., Ethics Advisor, for the guidance and knowledge he impart for the completion of our study. The respondents for the time spent in answering the questionnaire, friends and colleagues for giving us courage and strength to the completion of the study, and the special appreciation is due to our loving parents for all the moral support that enabled the researcher to triumph difficulties at the time of crisis.